नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी। Hare Krishna. Today we continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto First, Chapter 17, Punishment and Reward of Kali, Shloka number 28 and 29. इति धर्मं महिं च एव
इति धर्मं महिं चैव
सान्त्वयित्वा महारथः
सान्त्वयित्वा महारथः
निशातम् आददे खड्गम्
निशातम् आददे खड्गम्
कलये अधर्म हेतवे
कलये अधर्महेतवे
तं जिगांसुम् अभिप्रेत्य
तं जिघांसुम् अभिप्रेत्य
विहाय नृपलाञ्छनम्
विहाय नृपलाञ्छनम्
तत्पादमूलं शिरसा
तत्पादमूलं शिरसा
समगात भय विह्वलः
समगादभयविह्वलः
इति धर्मं महिं च एव
इतीं धर्मं महिं चैव
सान्त्वयित्वा महारथः
सान्त्वयित्वा महारथः
निशातम् आददे खड्गम्
निशातम् आददे खड्गम्
कलये अधर्म हेतवे
कलये अधर्महेतवे
तं जिगांसुम् अभिप्रेत्यम्
तं जिघांसुम् अभिप्रेत्य
विहाय नृपलाञ्छनम्
विहाय द्रुपलाञ्छनम्
तत्पादमूलं शिरसा
तत्पादमूलं शिरसा
समगात भय विह्वलः
समगादभयविह्वलः
इति धर्मं महिं च एव सान्तयित्वा महारथः निशातम् आददे खड्गम् कलये अधर्म हेतवे तं जिगांसुम् अभिप्रेत्य विहाय नृपलाञ्छनम् तत्पादमूलं शिरसा समगात भय विह्वल। हरे कृष्ण।
इति धर्मं महिं चैव सान्त्वयित्वा महारथः निशातमाददे खड्गं कलये अधर्महेतवे तं जिघांसुमभिप्रेत्य विहाय नृपलाञ्छनं तत्पादमूलं शिरसा समगादभयविह्वलः
Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mahārāja Parīkṣit, who could fight 1,000 enemies single-handedly, thus pacified the personality of religion and the earth. Then he took up his sharp sword to kill the personality of Kali, who is the cause of all irreligion. When the personality of Kali understood that the king was willingly to kill him, he at once abandoned the dress of a king and, under pressure of fear, surrendered to him, bowing his head. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada. As described above, the personality of Kali is he who deliberately commits all kinds of sinful acts which are forbidden in the revealed scriptures. This age of Kali will certainly be full of an activities of Kali, but this does not mean that the leaders of society, the executive heads, the learned and intelligent men, or above all the devotees of the Lord, should sit down tightly and become callous to the reactions of the age of Kali. In the rainy season, certainly there will be profuse rainfalls, but that does not mean that men should not take means to protect themselves from the rains. It is the duty of the executive heads of state and others to take all necessary actions against the activities of Kali or the persons influenced by the age of Kali. And Maharaj Parikshit is the ideal executive head of the state, for at once he was ready to kill the personality of Kali with his sharp sword. The administrator should not simply pass resolutions for anti-corruptional steps, but they must be ready with sharp swords to kill the persons creating corruption from the angle of vision of the recognized shastras. The administrators cannot prevent corrupt activities by allowing wine shops. They must at once close all shops of intoxicating drugs and wine and force punishment, even by death for those who indulge in habits of intoxication of all descriptions. That is the way of stopping the activities of Kali as exhibited herein by Maharaj Parīkṣit, the Mahāratha. The royal dress of personality of Kali is artificial. The royal dress is suitable for a king or a kshatriya, but when a lower class man artificially dresses himself as a king, his real identity is disclosed by challenge of bona fide kshatriya like Maharaj Parikshit. A real kshatriya never surrenders. He accepts the challenge of his rival kshatriya, and he fights either to die or to win. Surrender is known to a real Kshatriya. In the age of Kali, there are so many pretenders dressed and posed like administrators or executive heads, but their real identity is disclosed when they are challenged by a real Kshatriya. Therefore, when the artificially dressed personality of Kali saw that to fight Maharaj Parikshit was beyond his ability. He bowed down his head like a subordinate and gave up his royal dress. Vancha kalpatarubheccha कृपा सिन्धुभे एव sorry ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनः शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांच ओम नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे पाञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 Hare Krishna. We try to understand shloka number 28 and 29. Uh, both shlokas are very important and they uh, show us when we're taking the surrender, what is the responsibility of the others to whom we taking surrender. That is very importantly describing here. Prabhuji will tell us in nicely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for a wonderful recitation of this important topic. So here we are seeing some details about Mahārāja Parīkṣit initially. So Shukdev Goswami ji is telling that he could fight 1,000 enemies single-handedly. And so what he did is he pacified initially the personality of religion and earth with his words. Now, when he had seen them, if you all remember, both of them were being beaten by Kali and they were literally crying while Dharma was actually wobbling on one leg. So he is referred to here as a Mahāratha. So what he did is he initially consoled them, pacified them, and then he took up his sword to kill the personality of Kali because he knew that he is the cause of all religion, adharma hetave. So very clear meanings are coming here. First of all, it is important that whenever we meet someone, it has to be our duty is to Shantava itva, that is, we have to pacify. Secondly, we have to ensure that we do not accept anything which is against religion. And thirdly, we know that Kali is the cause of irreligion. Adharma hetave. So when Maharaj Parīkṣit is called as Mahāratha, it obviously becomes simple that someone would like to question what is the meaning of Mahāratha. So the word comes from two words. Maha means great and Ratha. Ratha means the chariot. So Mahāratha, though Prabhupada ji in the purport is talking about, in the translation is saying 1,000 persons could be fought. The actual definition when you go through the Shastras is Atiratha is a person who can fight 1,000 chariots. And Ati Maharatha is one who is equal to 12 Atirathas. And then we have Maharathas who are able to fight 10,000 people, warriors simultaneously. So this is the description that we get. A mighty warrior capable of fighting 10,000 chariots and their warriors alone. So just look at the strength which Parikshit Maharaj had developed. He was not only a Maharathi, he was not only a Atiratha, he was not only a Ati Maharatha, he was a Mahāratha. And so that explains why Kali did something which we are seeing in the next book. And since he was so strong, it also makes us understand why he had said that whosoever is the cause of religion, irreligion, even if it is the demigods, I'll ensure that they are punished. So this shloka gets tied up to both the locations simultaneously. Through this one simple example and explanation of quality of Parikshit Maharaj. And then comes the other part. And it is Kali who is deliberately committing all kinds of sinful acts which are forbidden in the revealed scriptures. It is the cause of all irreligion, of all problems that we face. So people have to understand that if they have to overcome irreligiosity, then it means that they have to overcome the effect of Kali first. Many times the question comes, if it is the age of quarrel, if it is the age which has been assigned to Kali Yuga, he is doing what is his activity, so why should we oppose? And what does it have in it for us? We simply have to follow the Yuga Dharma of Harinam Sankirtan. Why will we go against Kali? The answer is very simple. In rainy season, it is obvious that there is going to be a rainfall. Like it is expected that we will have rainfall today in our city. But it does not mean that if there is a prediction of a rainfall, we will not take means to protect ourselves from the rains. Similarly, it is duty of everyone that they know the activities of Kali, the influence of the age of Kali. So they have to take all precautions, necessary actions, so that they can be safeguarded appropriately. And this becomes one of the important duties of the executive heads. Just like Parikshit Maharaj, who is an ideal executive head. And so he at once was ready to kill Kali with his sharp sword. So just passing resolutions, that is not everything. There has to be a strong action as well. Words should be followed by and emulated by the actions, otherwise words have no meaning. So it is expected by Prabhupada ji that the administrators They must be ready to kill the persons creating corruptions from the angle of the vision of the recognized Shastras, just like Maharaj Parīkṣit was Maharata. Because the effect of such personalities is that those who make the mistakes, they simply tremble. They get perspiration and they don't know what to do. And similar was the condition of Kali. Though he was wearing the royal dress, and now ideally a royal dress is suitable only for a king, a kshatriya. But when a Shudra or a lower class person artificially dresses, the real identity is disclosed only when he is challenged by a bona fide kshatriya. The Shastra says that the kshatriya's duty is to fight, and if he does not fight, then his life is as good as death. And that is why when Arjuna said that he is completely perplexed and he is not in a position to fight, Krishna explained to Arjuna that he was trying to be the word he uses shochayanti is the word which is being used there in that shloka in the second chapter, wherein he says that you are trying to do something which is not ideal to be done. You should not feel bad or sorrow for something which is not worth that. And that is why that shloka is very, very, I love that shloka. Ashocyan ashocastvam pratyavadam cha bhashase. Gatasun gatasun cha. Sorry, gatasuna gatasun cha na anushocanti pandita. He says that you're speaking like a learned person, but you are the biggest fool because we are trying to lament for something which is not worth lamenting. And this is exactly what happens in Kali Yuga. The moment there is a challenge, those who are acting as a Kshatriya, they cannot accept it. A Kshatriya will either fight to win or die while fighting. He'll never surrender. In fact, in Mahabharata, we see that a Kshatriya is supposed to never say no to a fight or a duel. But then in Kali Yuga, there are so many pretenders. And their reality comes in front of everyone only when they face a challenging situation. In our neighboring country, we are seeing this happening so many times. And the other nation also, which we had freed, there also we are seeing the situation now coming in front. The moment the challenge has come, the person has fled to China and trying to get support from there. So when artificially dressed up personality of Kali saw that it was not appropriate to fight Mahārāja Parīkṣit because he was Mahārata, it was beyond his ability, he simply bowed down his head like a subordinate and gave up his royal dress. Now see, for the first time, Kali is being introduced in Bhagavatam in a clear way. Now, Kali is the personality of this age. Till now there was reference to Kali, there was reference to personality of Kali. Now here first time it is said that he is bowing his head. A direct reference to Kali. Tadapadamulam shirasa samagad bhaya vivvala. Vivvala, fresher of fearfulness. So this is what happens. And it is again said Ripa Lanchanam, that he was wearing the dress of a king. And what does he do? He Tadapadamulam. He falls at his feet, at the feet of Parīkṣit Maharaj. Samag. Samagat fully surrendered. Shirasa by the head. So, while an ideal Kshatriya would have never done that, he being a Shudra, he immediately did it because they don't know how to accept challenge or face challenges in life. And that is why Kali is the origin of all non-religious people. In fact, the effects of Kali are increasing because of these irreligious activities, especially mercy. Because people don't have mercy, friendliness, austerity, everything is improved. In fact, people try to eat non-vegetarian food. But if there was a study which analyzed that none of them actually do the killing part, they get the killing done by someone else and then they are able to eat it. So there was a person in New York City who wanted to promote vegetarianism. So what he did is he decided he was having a pure veg restaurant. So he said that he is sponsoring 100 persons to eat a rabbit dish in another restaurant worth $200. And then 100 people immediately registered. So when those people came to the restaurant, there the chefs they showed them two rabbits. One was brown and one was white. Then they went to each of the guests and they asked each of the guests to touch the rabbit, to feel the fur of the rabbit, look into the eyes of the rabbit, and select which one they would like to eat. 80% said they don't want to eat now, just by the feel of a living rabbit. But then we had those crooked 20%. No matter what you do, we want to eat. So when those 20% were remaining, the chef, he took the rabbit, white, brown, whatever they had selected. He gave it in their hand and said, "We'll cook the dish. You kill this and give it to us." And no one was ready. All 20 also said, "We don't want to eat." Because still there is little mercy in everyone's heart. Only thing is, the effect of Kali has covered it. So it becomes our duty that we teach people what is truth to remove the effect of Kali. As I remember Jayapataka Swami Maharaj says that we should eat things like the fruit, vegetables, things which are fresh, which are not killed. We should not eat fish or eggs, so that we are able to have a right approach towards our spiritual progress. And Kshatriyas, they should always have a principle that they should fight. And if someone is surrendering, then they won't kill. But now we don't find any Kshatriyas, we only find terrorists who kill innocent people, blow up buses, shops, everything and everything. Cowards. In the past, the two administrators, the true Kshatriyas, they would fight, whoever would win would be the winner, and the other one would die. Today, people have power, but they don't have the understanding of how to apply the power. So, war is necessary, but then Prabhupada says that the application of power has to be only for Dharma Yuddha, not for any other reason. Since the Kurukshetra battle, ideally there has not been a single Dharma Yuddha. People are fighting on other principles, so fighting is not sanctioned. Religious principles come first, and then one of the religious principles is that discrepancy in dharma is to be checked. So if the administrator does not know the code of dharma, does not administrate according to the codes of Krishna, like in Vedic culture, we know when there is no king, the learned personalities are very concerned because there is has to be a king. There must be a king. They simply think if there is no king, what would happen? Things will come out, law breaking people will proliferate. So Brahmanas understand the necessity of Kshatriyas, qualified Kshatriyas, and they ensure the training is on. So what does this got to do in Kali Yuga with us? This shloka is telling us what we are supposed to do as devotees. Surrender is important. Kali Yuga surrendered. He surrendered in front of a devotee. But the reason for his surrender was wrong. He surrendered to saved himself in the material world, while Krishna says the surrenderance has to be to get out of the material world. So, what are we supposed to do? This is clearly mentioned in the text. The Kshatriyas are supposed to do which activities? We are supposed to assist Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's this verse in Bhagavatam regarding the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sangopanga Shastra Parshuram Yagyaya Sankirtana Prayaya Janti Samadesha. That when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears, he appears with his expulsions and his weapons. So what are Lord Chaitanya's weapons? He does not have a sword. He does not have bow and arrows like Lord Ram, whose appearance day we are going to be celebrating on the 6th of April. He's not even carrying regularly the Sudarshan Chakra. Well, he has, but he's checked from deploying it by Lord like Nityananda Prabhu. So what are his astras? He has his associates. His associates are his astras. The Sankirtana movement itself is the astra. So what the devotees are supposed to do? They have to take part in the activities of propagating the holy name. In a war, there are different elements, different astras. So similarly, in this war against Kali Yuga, we have Harinam Sankirtan, we have book distribution, we have training and education, we have Bhagavatam class, we have Bhagavad Gita class, we have Chaitanya Charitamrita class, we have classes in societies, we have online forums, we have outreach programs, we have prasadam distributions, we celebrate festivals and this and that and other things. That's what we can take shelter of to systematically propagate. To taking a shelter of a qualified guru, one who is coming in the parampara and executing the devotional activities as per his instructions is something which is very, very must, which we need to execute to successfully overcome the effects of Kali Yuga and be on the right path of going back home, back to Godhead. And for that, it is important that we continue with our sadhana, which involves chanting, which involves reading of the scriptures, which involves taking Krishna Prasadam, which involves congregational chanting, and which involves that we all come together, associate, and act according to the directions of Guru.